all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world's world away. We now got part 6 of Hachette Partworks build the Mk1a Spitfire. Look, I'm still in the keep calm, carry on mentality. As long as I've got my coffee, I think we're all going to get through this, people. Anyway, look, we're going to be doing some engine details today, which means that we're going to be needing the engine that we've been working on in the previous issue, and we've got lots of details here. Look at all of that we're going to have to break off of a sprue, putting those in as well. Here's the magazine. Let's go to the section that we need. This is everything that I said we've got, and we're just going to be planting lots of details onto this engine. This engine isn't going to go into the actual fuselage section yet, but there is plenty of details to put on there. Now, I don't think this is going to take too long to do, but who knows with these things. It depends if these details decide to ping off to the abyss of oblivion on the carpet, but who knows. Again, I'm going to need my tweezers as well for this one, because I'm sure it's going to be a little bit fiddly. In the next issue, we've got some parts for the supercharger and details for the engine as well that's coming. That should be hopefully here next week, but I'm conscious that I'm having trouble getting hold of these from the newsagents at the moment on account that they're all closed. So who knows what to do. Without further ado, let's get cracking. Now, the two cements I'm going to be using on this one, we're going to be using the Tamiya normal cement, which I said it's a bit like a gel when it goes on, and then we've got the one that's actually going to pull itself into the actual seams and keep it together. I'm using the quick drying one on this one. The other one's just a normal extra thin, but this is a quick drying one. That's the two cements I'm going to be using on this. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach the right engine side cover looking like that, which has got these sections hanging down. Now look at the pictures, because they do look similar, but this notch is in a different place for each side. I have been looking around just to see if it says left or right on the actual detail, but it doesn't. But we need to orientate the engine as well. So where we've got this sump section at the bottom, this here is the rear, this here is the front. So what we're going to do is we're going to be putting this in with the notch that you see there towards the rear. Now, you will notice that we've got two lugs on this section just on top. Not the hook ones, the ones on top here are just the two lugs. They're going to go into the holes that we've got just here and here. Now, they do say that they might be a tight fit. If they are, just checking mine now, we might need to just open it up a little bit with a round file. Now, just test fitting this dryly on my one, it's apparent that they are a little bit tight. So what I'm going to use, I've got a needle nose round file here. I'm going to put them into the holes it needs to go and just give it a little turn just like that to open those holes up a little bit bigger. Same on this side. Then I'm going to do a dry fit again, and hopefully this should fit in. Now, because that's in actually really tight, I'm not going to put glue on the lugs, but I am going to use some of the extra thin cement just around the seam there to soak into that part. Just like this. Now this isn't going anywhere. Now we need to do the same to the other side. So once again, I'm anticipating that these holes are going to be big enough, so I'm using a needle file again just in here to open those holes up a little bit. Same on this side. And then once again we'll get this pushed in, and that fits perfect in that side. So once again, I'm just going to put some extra thin Tamiya cement into the seams here, and the capillary action of this glue is actually just going to soak it in, and it is also going to make a chemical reaction with the plastic, so this isn't going to go anywhere. Don't really need to do it on the bottom, but that's perfect. That's locked in perfectly. Now we're going to take the oil tank base, which looks just like this. Now this is going to go on the bottom here with the detail that you see with an arrow. The arrow is going to be pointing towards the front of the engine. So these two dots that we've got here, two holes to attach a part, will be going towards the rear. I've just pushed that in just like that, and that actually holds itself in really well. Now this needs to be held into place. So once again, I don't know if you can see this on top camera, I'm just putting a little line of this just into the seam to soak that into place. And there we go, that's that section in. Now in the two holes that we've got just there, we've got the fuel pump base, which is going to go in like this. This has got two lugs on it, and once again these are going to go in this way round. Just push them in here, and that's going to clip in on the top just like that. And again, we're just going to put this down with a tiny bit of glue just to keep that all in place. And now we're going to need part A from this sprue. Now this means I'm going to need my sprue cutters, but I'm only going to cut them as and when I need them. Now the sprue that we need looks like this, and they're actually numbered. Now they're referring to it as part A, but because these are all numbered on here, I'm just going to refer to it as number 1. So we'll get this cut off. Flat side again, remember, to the detail. Just like that. Just checking I've got no burrs. I haven't. That's a really clean cut. This is the section we're going to be putting in here. Now if you look closely at this, we've got one of the corners is actually got a little bite out of it, if you like. That is going to be going towards this side of the pump that we just put on here. Now as you can see, we've got a lug on top there. We've got the corresponding hole there. So this is just going to fit on just like this. And once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to glue that into place. Now the next detail along they're referring to as B, but it's actually labelled number 2 on the sprue here. We'll get that cut off. And that looks just like that. Once again, we've got a lug just on the end there, which is going to go into the lug that we've got just there. So I'll put this in, show you the way it's going to go. Kind of like that. Now this is only held on by the lug. So this time I am going to use my other Tamiya glue, just so I can put some glue on that lug and then lock that into place. Just like that. Now we want part H, which is on the other sprue here, and part H is this piece here. Now it's labelled on this one as number 2 on this sprue. So we'll cut that one off. Then holding the engine this way round, we've got 2 holes just here and here at the top. It's going towards the rear side of the engine. We've got the same detail here, it's got some lugs on, but when we put this in, we want those 2 points there to be facing up. So this is going to go in just like that. Now that was a really tight fit. So I don't think you're going to have to glue that, because believe me, to get that out, I'm going to need pliers. We're going to do the same on the other side, which is piece I, but on this sprue it's labelled number 3. So I'll get this cut off. This is the biggest piece on the sprue. Just like that. And this is going to go on the other side with this detail here on the side pointing towards this side of the engine. So it's going to go in those 2 holes there. Let's put that in. Just like that. This bit is quite loose, so I will feed some glue into that. When you've done that, it's going to look like that. Now we need parts C and E, which are on these ones here. Now they're labelled 5 and 3. So we get these 2 details off. Now when we do put them together, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little notch just on there, which has got a lug just like that. So it can only go in one way once we've lined it up. So it's going to go in just like that. So I'm going to glue this together. Then we want part D, which is this one up here, but it's labelled on this sprue as number 4. And then we're going to thread this just over the top there. Again, it can only go in one way because it's got notches in the side, which will enable it to sit perfectly flush. So pushing that down to where it goes. And then the last detail on this sprue is detail F, but it's labelled up on this as number 6. So I'll get this cut off. And then this detail has got 2 lugs at the top and 2 holes. Basically, the lugs are going to be facing out from this detail, but they are going to go into the 2 holes just into that section that we just pushed over the top. So this is going to sit in here just like that. So once again, I'm going to run some glue just into the seams. You can see the chemical reaction starting on the end. Look, it's turned a little bit black there. At least you know that it's working. There we go. That's quite a highly detailed piece, that one. Now, holding the engine this way, you see where the screw hole is? We've got 2 lugs in there. What we need to do is attach this part that we've just done here into those lugs. Bear it in mind, we're gluing this into place. So once this is glued in, we're not going to be able to access that screw anymore. So make sure you're happy with the engine. Just going to put this in. Keep it flat. And there we go. That looks just like that. Now we can put the engine to one side and let that dry and bring over the whole fuselage here. I'm just going to take off the sides because I put them on just for the thumbnail picture last time, because we're going to be putting some details just onto this section of the propeller housing. So the first part we need is part G, which is the second one up from the bottom there, but it's labelled on this sprue as number... I'd like to say number 1, but if that was the case, then the bottom one doesn't seem to have a number there, which is a bit weird. But we'll get this one cut off. And I know I'm using ship terminology here, but it's the easiest way I can explain it. If I grab the port side of the housing here, so it's the left side, I'm going to be putting this section just into the 2 lug holes that we've got there and there. So I think I'll be able to put this part in first. Now that part has got an open end, so you want to make sure the open end is pointing down, and we'll get this glued into place. I'm going to hold that with my finger for a second. Glue around the seam now. That's the first detail in, and then the last detail we got on the sprue is just going to go onto the other side of the housing there, so we get that caught up. And as I said, this one doesn't seem to have a number on it, so it's just the one you've got left. That's come off perfectly. So once again, making sure the open end of this detail here is facing down, we're going to put the 2 lugs into this hole on the side here, just like that. I'm going to hold it in with my finger, and once again just put some extra thin cement just into the seam there, and you can see that actually, you'd need a real close-up camera actually to see it, but it gets pulled into the detail, and that's those 2 details on either side of the housing. Now there's one other part to put in. As you can see on the fuselage there, we've got a hole. Now this is the starter plug cover cap. Now if I show you on the top camera, you might be able to read that. It actually does say engine starter, oh god, I need glasses for this, engine starter plug. That's what it says. So obviously we want to put this in, not only the same shape of the fuselage there, it's going to glue into here, but obviously you have to put it in that way, otherwise it won't fit the shape, and the writing's going to be upside down. So that's going to fit in just like that. Now this needs the smallest amount of glue, so once again I'm just going to put some glue just around the edges here. Doesn't need a lot at all. And then I'll make sure this piece goes in the right way. And it fits perfectly flush in there, just like that. And then that is all we have to do in this episode. And I'll tell you what, that was quite fiddly, wasn't it? But that's looking just like that there. And the same on the other side. That was a little bit harder than I thought, I don't mind admitting that, but I had the tools for the job, and it's gone good. So as I said, the next one should hopefully be out next week, but who knows what's going to change in the next 7 days. We're on lockdown at the moment, and we can only go out for essentials. Luckily enough, the Spitfire magazine is in Asda, where our food shopping is, so I managed to pick that up. Where I normally get my stuff from, which is like the W.H. Smith's newsagents, they have my Terminator. It's closed, hence why you haven't had a Terminator release this week. But you are in for some luck, because on Sunday we're going to be putting some of the finger fixes from Model Mods on the Terminator. So that video is going to be out Sunday. Tomorrow we've got another Ferrari video. So I really do hope you like that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care, be safe.